great. You have to be willing to activate the great from within. It starts with you, and it starts right now. Back in the house, ccmindiana.com studios with Tyler Davis.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's something I've definitely grown to look forward to.
Yeah, it's something different.
Yeah.
There's some commitments that we have that really don't look like this.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You know.
And it's nice to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, because you have some range.
Yeah. Part of what I love about this industry that we're in is every day's different.
Oh yeah, take that for what it is, for sure, because you do get an opportunity to broaden your horizons, when it comes to a variety of ways, or build equity, if you will, in certain skill sets that you have, or
definitely.
what you're aspiring to have or be or working on, which we're all just trying to move the needle a little bit more every day, a little different way.
Yeah.
But being consistent with it.
Yep. Yeah, we got to know what our objectives are. What is it we're working towards in that equity that we're building?
For sure. And when's the last time we had to focus on, really, we build equity in our houses and maybe in some vehicles, maybe some investment portfolios and things like that. But, do we really focus on building equity in life?
That's powerful.
What does that look like?
Yeah, it's going to look different to everybody, but
Sure.
but are you even paying attention to
Right.
it? And what is your equity?
Right, yeah, equity in life, So what we want to kind of do today is, create a jumping off point for this, thought, pattern, right? Or, just series of thoughts that, kind of cascade in a good way, that you build on. You can build on this and you make it your own.
Definitely, because there's a good chance that a lot of folks are already doing this.
Mm-hmm.
They might not just recognize or have the name of it like, wow, I am building equity in myself. Or I'm selling myself maybe a little short there.
Sure.
I got a lot to gain over there.
Right, it's something to be intentional about.
Right.
When I think there's several opportunities that we have day in and day out to be
Always.
intentional, right? I'm going to intentionally work on X, Y, and Z. I'm going to intentionally work on, staying centered. Examples go on and on and on and on.
Yeah, buddy.
But it's being intentional, right? So, and so today we want to talk about 3 ways to build equity in life, right? And it's not everything to everyone. It's not going to be the same thing to everyone.
Right. It's not a one-size-fits-all.
No, but, again, it's a jumping off point.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of start your mind thinking like this. Am I making an investment into my life? Not so much the finance piece, because you think the finances are going to fix things, and I'm here to tell you that that's not always the case.
No, it is not.
It makes certain things easier, when you've had some success and you have some money in the bank, but it's not definitely not a cure-all by any means.
It does allow for certain freedoms, one of which can be freedom in your time, but if you don't invest in these certain things, what's that time really buying you?
Well, yeah, you're just a slave to it at
Right.
that point. You're a slave to the time. You're a slave to the check, a slave to the grind.
Yep.
And that probably means a little bit something different to everybody too. But so today, 3 ways to build equity in your life. Number 1, be honest and forthcoming with yourself and others.
Integrity, man.
It is. The part where others, I think folks, can really wrap their brain around that, but, they're really being honest and forthcoming with themselves.
Yeah. And that's definitely one of those things, because in my household, we talk about how lying is not tolerated. But when, and I do this often, going through something right now, when do I take that look in the mirror and realize that I was accepting some lies from myself?
Right. And really, for the folks that want to latch on to the word lie and make it like more powerful than what it is, really kind of more like the forthcoming, right? The being, completely transparent with yourself.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
recognizing it for what it is and what it's not.
Yeah, like not omitting things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Accepting
Yeah.
a half-assed approach to certain aspects of life.
Sure. And when you're not being completely candid with yourself, you're only going to be so candid with others. You're going to reach a limit. You're only going to go so far with it because you view that as that vulnerability there of being forthcoming and being honest as part of you thinks that someone will weaponize that.
Right.
So you're guarded at that point when you're not doing that, and you don't even know you're doing it. A lot of people don't realize the autopilot takes over when it comes to being forthcoming with themselves, because we got to keep our minds right. Well, yay, assessing from a good place is keeping your mind right.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. That goes in a lot of different directions.
It does, and and really it's selfish and selfless at the same time. it's selfish for you to kind of take a deep dive and be honest with yourself, but in return you become selfless to others.
Right. So it's not necessarily a bad thing.
No,
it's
not.
a requirement when you're building this equity in life that we're talking about.
Exactly. And being honest and forthcoming, and that's kind of like last week. That's something that no one can ever take from you.
Right.
You can feel good about yourself and where you're at.
Yep. Yeah. There's an old phrase in a song with like a real recognize real. Like,
yeah.
But when do you do that with yourself?
Right. What's your baseline?
Yeah.
How do you form a measurement? How do you, in big boy words, quantify, those special words.
Right.
How do you measure that? And if you're not being intentional,
yeah,
that's where you need to start.
Yeah.
So, building equity, like when people can count on you for this, for honesty and being forthcoming, they always know where they stand with you.
Yeah, man. And this kind of jumps off of something from a few episodes ago about using the heart.
For sure.
Definitely.
It does make it easier to circle back with that.
Yeah, because there's a feeling. Mm-hmm. If you're not being forthcoming and you're not being completely honest with yourself, there's a feeling. Yeah,
and so this is a great way to get to the heart, right? Get back to that neural cognitive, organ that we have that does way more than we think. It makes it easier because then you're not ping-ponging things around. It's a lot easier to be honest and forthcoming. Okay, don't think that everybody that you encounter is going to weaponize what you say. They're not going to take advantage of that vulnerability, and if they do, they just did you a favor by letting you know that they don't need to be a part of your circle.
Oh man, I remember early in life somebody told me, just tell the truth. It makes everything so much easier. You don't have to remember what you said because everything you said is the truth.
Oh yeah, you don't have like Scooby-Doo on the trail. There's no crumb trail like where people try to sniff it out like the Hardy Boys. You know what I mean?
Right.
So in the vein of like choose your own adventure, choose to be honest, choose to be forthcoming,
right?
Because it's a selfish act on your part to be that way, but it leads to selfless engagement with others,
which builds equity.
Oh yes, and it's a nice little teeing up number 2, right? Find the power in being alone. Man. Now, when I say being alone, I'm talking about being cool with just yourself, right? Being cool with the way you think, the way that what makes you tick. What are you into? Like kind of like just showing up to the party without wondering who's there.
Right. Man,
it don't matter.
I've been on that journey for 12 years now. And the wild thing is, like, I love being around people. I always have. But it's a requirement for me to be alone. Yes. But in this last 12 years, the mental shift and the work that has taken place there makes me value that time so much more.
Well, I mean, if you can be at peace with yourself and have, grace with yourself and realize that you're a work in progress and that you don't need constant reassurance or reinforcement.
Nope.
Man, you're building equity in life. When you can sustain yourself without having to latch on to others. And I'm not saying I love people, just like you said, right? I love being around people, right?
Yep.
But I love being in control of my mind even more. And if I didn't spend some time with myself, I wouldn't fully understand myself, you know? And then you build on, there's a lot you can build on from there.
Oh, man. And the more time you do it, I mean, just like an investment account or something like that, the more you do it, the more compound interest you're going to get on this self-equity.
If you do skip or kind of fall off track, it's easier to get back on the horse. You know, something about having these one-on-ones that we're doing with like the team members and everything. And even the one-on-ones I, reflect and have with myself, it goes a long way.
Yes.
When's the last time you had a one-on-one with yourself?
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Like where you really just broke it down, again, with no judgment, right?
And no expectations.
No.
Just take it for what it is and what it's not. But, like, recognizing that.
A lot of times, when we're left to our own devices, we don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really want to find equity and build equity in life, you will figure out what to do with your own devices.
Yeah, man. And
you will come to center.
And you got to be alone to do that. You got to. You got to be good with it. I mean, that's where the whole meditation and all that stuff is super powerful.
In reflection, you can reflect without picking yourself apart, okay? You're not putting yourself in front of the firing range.
No.
And if you do, you're keeping yourself right there. You might as well say, I like feeling this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love being uncertain. I love, having to, be around other people so I can be happy.
Yeah. Yep. No, man. Self-sustainability.
It matters, and then you're just more of a powerful human being for yourself, for those around you, and then all the people you haven't met yet.
Dang. Dang, there it is. Yeah.
You end up being a
Future.
beacon of light, man. Like
Yeah. Future you.
Yeah, another way of saying this, be the light, not the moth.
Mm-hmm.
Find the power in making your own decisions.
Yeah,
Find
man.
the power in falling in love with something. Okay, find the power in finding what commitments work for you.
Yeah.
Okay,
And it's amazing, like what you're saying. When you turn your light on, lights around you start to illuminate. It's
sure.
It's powerful, man.
it really is, and no one is thinking about how powerful it is. They're just being,
Yes.
being with, self-sustaining.
Yep.
And that's a big part of what we're talking about. Okay, so find the power in being alone. It will be your salvation. It will set you free. It will be difficult at first.
Yeah. Well,
You're rewiring your brain.
right.
You're changing the way things fire and wire.
Yep.
But I promise you, there's gold in them hills. And lastly, leave people better than you found them.
Oh my gosh. Yes, man.
Nothing feels better than picking somebody up.
Oh man, and it can be so simple. Like holding the door for somebody. A simple act.
It could be as simple as that, or it could be as deep as someone that thought they were able to they thought they were keeping something pretty close to the vest, but you noticed it.
Right. And you held that space with them
That's
and had
right.
that conversation.
That's right. Like, hey, look, let's make sure you're in a healthy place right now, because that's another benefit of the one-on-ones. Okay, I can find out if people are hanging out in the wrong sandbox.
Yeah.
Like, okay, all right, I can see. Okay, let's be mindful. Let's play a little defense here on what we're latching onto.
Right.
And every time you do that, it's a little easier, a little easier, a little easier.
Sure.
But when you go out of your way to serve, right? You notice something. Remember we talked about how the heart radiates electromagnetic field that you can feel. Your brain does it too. If somebody's got something on their mind, or more importantly, if they got something on their heart,
Can feel
there's
it.
a good chance that you're going to pick up on it.
Right.
And, I don't care how busy you think you are.
Right.
If you can take those few minutes and just lift that person up a little bit,
Yeah, just
you
listen.
never know like what that little 2 to 3%, change, little, shift in the fulcrum, if you will,
Yeah.
right? How
Power.
that helps.
Yeah, it does. But a big reason that you have developed this superpower, because that's kind of what it is the fact that you have spent time alone
Sure.
and worked to develop this,
That's right.
this self-equity.
It is. And when you're building equity in life, you realize that, you're giving yourself the chance or the opportunity to, live life abundantly.
Yeah.
When you're building equity, the last thing you're thinking about is scarcity.
Right. Wealth, right? I mean, that's what it equates to.
Because when we're building equity, we're focusing on a process.
Yeah.
We're committed to the process because we're building something.
Yes.
We're following the blueprint.
Right.
We might make some changes to that print,
Well,
but we're following a print. We're following a process.
Gotta
And you become process oriented. Outcomes take care of themselves.
Yep. Yeah. The trophy is the outcome.
Oh, yeah.
But the process to achieve it, man, that's what you got to fall in love with.
It is, and it makes it a little easier to stay in your heart and out of your head. Okay, because you're not sitting there jostling around. Oh well, this, and this, and try to get all analytical with it. When it comes to interactions with people and things and everything in life, if you just kept focused on even 30 minutes of your day, how did I make somebody life better than what it was? How did I lift them up in a way? How just even being in a good mood and being a pleasure to be around.
Right.
That makes a difference
Oh
too.
man, there are people that absolutely they'll walk in the room and you just feel the ice.
Yeah, and the other way around too, though.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's super powerful. This stuff is real.
When you don't have to be Dr. Phil, you don't have to be going on this quest acting like you're trying to fix a bunch of people, man, because that's not what it's about at all.
No.
But if you can find a way to lift people up in your own way, sometimes it's a deeper lift or a heavier lift than others, but just be willing to do it. And if you can leave people better than you found them, man, there's a lot of equity there.
Yeah, there is.
Holy cow, unbelievable. So what are we going to do with this, Tyler?
Yeah, man.
What are we going to do? What can we do with these little guideposts here?
Man, bring it to center. Use it as a baseline.
That's right. So like when you're getting lost and you kind of feel like you're in the weeds a little bit, let's go back to center.
Bring it back.
Bring it back to center. Am I being honest and forthcoming
Reel
with
it in.
myself? And, if I found the power in being alone, did I leave people better than I found them? If you feel like you're a little bit of a lost puppy, get back to these things. Like you don't feel like you're missing maybe a little direction in life and you're looking for a jumping off point. Here it is. Here's your baseline.
Yeah.
It's it. And you can just come back to these and the solace, just the feeling, the energy, the shift that you're going to have within yourself is going to be profound.
Yeah, catch yourself straying, refocus,
That's
reel
it.
it in, bring it back.
One thing, how do we get started, right? One act at a time. One act at a time. We're looking for 1 to 3% improvement. We're not moving a mountain here.
No.
But we convince ourselves that we are.
Yeah.
We manifest these Goliath type scenarios when it's just one act at a time.
That's all it is, man. Sometimes it really can be that simple.
It is that simple.
Yeah, we overcomplicate.
Well, we want to make it tough, right? If it's heavy, right?
Right.
Oh man, it's got to be complicated to be this heavy. I can't possibly be letting the water in and basically flooding my raft, if you will. You know what I mean? Man, this got real heavy to row. You're right. We got about 15 extra gallons of water in here.
Right.
Versus none.
Yeah.
You can't flood it. You can't flood yourself because things get really heavy really quick.
Yeah. Motor won't run. Won't even start.
No. You got to commit to these things. Right? Commit to yourself. You're doing this for you and everybody else benefits.
That's the thing. That's the big thing. It's not selfish.
Nope.
Selfless.
It is selfish to a degree. We're with a spin on it that we're talking about.
Exactly.
It leads to selfless
It's necessary.
interactions, though.
Yeah.
You be a little selfish. Commit.
Yep.
Okay? That's the kind of selfishness that I'm looking for. Commitment.
And that don't mean commit for today.
No.
That don't mean commit for a week. That don't mean commit when it's convenient.
It's not a field trip.
No. No. That means commit long term.
Oh, yeah. For sure. And when you commit to these things and you commit to I want a better life, and these 3 things can get you there.
Right.
Okay? These calls to action can get you there and formulate your own equation. But this is a jumping off point.
Yeah, it is.
So let's get things going. Make it happen this week. Be honest with yourself and commit.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. We'll catch you next time. I want to take a quick minute to thank our sponsor, ccmindiana.com, for all your mortgage needs. Very competitive, ready to rock, ready to help you be a pre-approved buyer that can compete. Ready to get pre-approved for your next mortgage? Stop by ccmindiana.com and see how we can help.